Hey everyone, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to Relevant Jukebox, and today we're going to talk about the debut album of Backxwash. God has nothing to do with this, so leave him out of it. So this is the debut of producer and rapper Backxwash, and man, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I mean, it is not too often that I can say I come across a record that is genuinely kind of scary sounding, or even has this much of like a sinister edge to it. It reminds me of the first time I listened to albums like Tyler, the Creator's Goblin, or even like Death Grip's The Money Store. And how back in like 2012, if you were to play The Money Store for pretty much anybody, they always had like the same reaction of kind of like, what the hell is this? Now, to make me feel truly like uncomfortable or creeped out or even like whatever the feeling is I'm trying to describe here that is just uncomfortable overall with music, it's always a multi-phase kind of thing. And I wouldn't necessarily say this is like the creepiest or scariest record I've ever heard or anything like that. The last time I can remember a record had this sort of effect on me might have been last year actually with Lingua Ignota's Caligula. But what I'm trying to say here is that this album by Backxwash here crept underneath that like invisible shield of almost like desensitivity that I've developed to aggressive sounding or angry sounding music over the past few years and actually kind of like creeped me out a little bit. Now, how did this happen, you might ask? Well, unlike Tyler, the Creator, or even MC Ride, it didn't come from the sound of Backxwash's voice. I actually really enjoy the sound of her voice and think it's great and pretty much is the most accessible aspect maybe to this project. Her energy and delivery certainly adds to the atmosphere in like a really good way as well. Almost like when you get like a really good vocalist in a hardcore band and how it just amplifies everything going on for you. But for one, the production on this record is like insane. I mean, to call it dark, I think would be like an understatement. All of the guitars and bass and drums across this entire LP are just so murky and blown out, like they're coming off of an industrial record. And there's some pretty deranged sounding samples on this album too. I mean, with times it sounds like they're coming from either animals, other times they're coming from children. And how could you overlook on the first track, Ozzy Osbourne coming from the infamous opening cut of the self-titled Black Sabbath record, which just fits in so perfectly with the sound and the aesthetic on this record to give a shout out to like the original evil sounding band. Also towards the end of the record on Heaven's interlude, she samples the famous scene from David Lynch's Eraserhead. Now getting past the production, I'm sure you noticed the title of it. All of like the lyrics and the topics and themes covered are just as horrifying as what the music sounds like. Dealing with fear and paranoia, conflict with family members, religion and the darker sides of what's going on. And she also talks about the perspective of growing up transgender and not being able to feel like her true self to everybody. Now, I don't want you to sit back and take what I say as this record is just some sort of thrill ride of some sorts, because it's certainly not. The way that this entire record is executed is near perfect in my opinion, from the black magic and like witchy type of themes that are just radiating out of the atmosphere, and how all of that ties into the topics and themes that she is talking about throughout the progression of the record and how it flows with it, almost like it's sort of a narrative. All of the features are great on this record too, especially Devi McCallion of Black Dresses and how creepy she sounds on the track Spells. I do not think that this record is going to be for everybody, but I really enjoyed this thing. And with that being said, I'm feeling a 9 over here on this new Backxwash album. There are no physical releases of this album just yet, but I have links in my description box down below to Backxwash's Bandcamp to grab it digitally. And if you listen to this new Backxwash album, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and share. And if you want more content from me, hit that subscribe button. Peace.